About right there. Okay, people. So, they say that they think it'll be tomorrow that Russia will attack Ukraine. What's your plan? What's your everyday carry? You know what I mean? Your EDC. What's in your get home bag? Do you have a map if they take out our satellites like they've been trying to do with the space junk and like they'll likely do with the Inspector satellite? What's your plan? Everybody got a little bit of change on them. You know what I mean? This could pop off at midnight. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean you should stay up all night and watch it. It's not like the drop the ball event for the New Year's. It will come up that we will likely have communications issues and someone who's a talking head, I don't know, they may even have the president come on, right? And tell us all about, well, you know, America, this has happened and Russian hackers have now turned off the gas pipeline again, and Russian hackers have turned off water systems because they had a back door to the thing even though they paid the ransomware. So every one of them have a back door to shut those things off again. Every single one of them. Maybe some Spetsnaz took out a power station. Maybe all of it all at once. And you're like, what's up with the GPS? And you're like, what's up with communications, right? Ham radio and a compass. Yeah, something. Hey, brother, that is a very fine start. Definitely. And a battery power unit for that ham radio. Something to back it up. Like either something that charges up fish finders and powers fish finders for kayaks. Those are found, little 12-volt batteries. Those are found at Cabela's. Maybe get you a few solar panels to charge up the batteries that charge up your batteries. You know what I mean? So anyway, so then the president gets on, right? What will happen next? He'll say, well, due to recent events, we're trying to find out if it's Russia or not. We don't know, even though we think it might. Yeah. And then says what he thinks is going to happen. And then about an hour after that, his interpreter, Psaki, gets on the television screen to tell you what he really meant. Okay? That's how we have to watch the news nowadays. You can listen to the president speak, right? Then when you're done listening to this president speak, you have to wait for his interpreter to get on there, because really, he didn't say, oh, we're not going to do that. What he really meant was, yeah. So, it's kind of like having two cows, and you're milking one of them. And it turns out that that milk is no good. So you have to wait till later when the other cow's ready to milk so you can really get them. So news events now take 4 to 5 hours of your time, and they eat up your time, and they stop you from actually learning what's going on, because first you have to hear what they say. Then you have to hear what they really meant for you to hear. And, oh, well, he wasn't really supposed to say that, and that's really not the opinion of the U.S. Well, whose opinion is it? If it's not the president's, who's running the show? They've already slipped up and said Obama 1,000 times. And a long time back, he was quoted as saying he wouldn't want to be president again unless he could do it from afar, and another person would be the person that's up there, but that he could be calling all the shots and telling what's going on. So I think we know probably who he calls every day and probably who's running things. We probably know. But I got a pretty good feeling if people are coming on after him and correcting what he's saying, and he's saying he's going to get in trouble for things he says. Yeah, so where will you get actual news? YouTube. Seriously. Caspian Report. U.S. Secret Agenda Channel. I'm last. I'm last on the list. Don't look for me, because I speak when things are already known. I'm not breaking anything, except my gift that I speak about things, you know. But in the end result, you're better off watching news off the internet, either from Reddit and try to find out if it's true or not. Twitter, because they put it up there. You look on Twitter, they'll tell you what's going on at the second it happens. And YouTube. It's the new news channel. All of the news are quoting people and showing it. It's like, hey, look what's trending on Twitter. Look what's trending on YouTube. But yet it's CNN. Okay, it should be PNN, the Propaganda News Network. I'm not knocking it. I'm saying it just is what it is. That's the label. That's the shingle that should be on the door. I think it's great they have a little news surface. I think it's great that people who have latched on to the Walter Cronkite kind of an era of news reporting that really believed that the reporter on the scene was finding stuff out, asking questions, and breaking news and bringing you stuff, is where your news comes from. Your news comes from the same place that Good Morning Vietnam, when they did that movie. Watch Good Morning Vietnam, okay? And pretty much it's edited, redacted, edited, scripted, brought to them by, whatever. And here's a kitty in a tree. So don't worry about exactly what's causing the event if you already know what's going to cause the event. Don't bury yourself too much in news, because you're going to be more concerned with getting the last gallon of water off the shelf before someone else gets it for you. Have water because you live off of water. Have food because you live off of food. Go ahead and clean your clothes because the washer and dryer might not work because you might not have power or water, right? Then you're going to go ahead and have, some type of a little bit of cash. Make sure you already have your car gassed with fuel. And if you have money in the bank, it might take a week or two to get it out. So whatever you need of that money, I ain't saying make a run on the banks. I'm not saying take all of it. Take what you need. They'll get it sorted out in a few days, maybe a week, maybe two. Let them hit the banks, okay? See, that's something they haven't done yet. But do you think if they can hack into our natural gas pipeline, you think they can't rearrange and make it so that the software doesn't run in a bank? I'm just asking the question. So what is going to be in your get home bag? Your everyday carry. Okay, people? Some beef jerky, a couple Cliff Bars, maybe a little bit of cash, maybe a weapon in case somebody tries to steal from you because they don't have anything, because they didn't plan, try to rob your car. Okay, I don't think that this will go as far as us getting an EMP. However, Russia's doing live drills with missiles they shoot up in the air very, very high. Like, you could call them ICBMs or you could just call them ballistic missiles. Call them what you want. They've gotten a lot shorter. They go a lot further. They do what they do. So, the one, flies around and it's nuclear powered and it can fly forever. So could they do a nuclear burst over us in 3 different places strategically and take out all of our power systems and every car that you have and everything? It's got a computer chip in it that has its little wires and everything spread out like an antenna, just waiting to take that energy and fry itself. Yeah, they can. Will they? I don't think so. I really don't think so, because that's the nth degree, and then they'll have to be dealt with, like wiped off the map, dealt with at that point. But here's how it works. Power substations run off of transformers, okay? In order to get to your home has got 110 in the outlets, or you can call it 120. Okay. But let's just go with 110 in order to go in phase and go upwards. So it's 110 at the outlet, 220 for some air conditioning systems and dryers, 440 into the box, 880 at the pole, transformed down, okay? 880 phased up. It gets up to, a few 100,000 volts in the higher power lines, and they have to ground themselves to even work on them, because there's even the static electricity will electrocute them and ground through them. So back to the power station it goes, and the power station is because it's hard to send power over lines for a long distance without loss of power. So they have capacitors and they have transformers. You have to have a capacitor station every so often because you lose and lose and lose by every quarter of a mile that you send electricity through the high power lines. Okay, it's those substations that have transformers that are large, and it's small transformers on the pole outside of your house. They don't make them every day. We don't have replacements for all of them, not even close. Manufacturing is behind, and has been for years, on making them because there's not a high demand. Well, if all of the transformers, even on the poles, forgetting the substations, but just the ones on the poles. Go out. We have enough replacements for a 16th, maybe a 32nd of our United States transformers. They could make them all day long and still not have them done for 8 years, 10 years. Everybody could make transformers. It would still take that long. It's windings of copper. It takes a long time. They have to do it correctly. There may not be enough copper. You see what I'm saying, people? We get a lot of copper cathodes and flat plates of copper that I used to run on a flatbed, and they come from the port and they come from other countries, and blockades work. So if we can't get materials from some little country where we could have a problem even getting the copper to melt down and get copper wire to rewind and make new transformers. So we'll be back in the Stone Age. Do you have firewood, and do you have a place to burn it like a wood burning stove? You know, well, a 50-gallon drum works well if you cut a hole inside of it. They have kits they make, but you don't need kits. Just throw a hinge on the flat piece of metal that you cut out with a jigsaw and make that the door. It'll get more air that way. It won't be perfect, but it'll burn. You know, then you got to cut a hole in the wall and send a pipe out. You need to make sure there's a box. It won't be a matter of building a chimney in 5 minutes. If there's a war, people are not going to come and retrofit your place. And if you live in the city and you're in an apartment, food supplies would run out quickly. So do I think that will happen? You never know. Putin has said himself that as far as he's concerned, that the whole world can be turned to volcanic ash if he doesn't get his little Ukraine. Okay? The guy's crazy. And it's a situation where they've already, not only have they already attacked Ukraine, but they've already lied about bringing their troops back. I mean, give me a break. I'm the one that told this. My knowings, like, no, this is different. This is different. And said they're not leaving. The general lied. What he said was all of the troops that are on specific training exercises are going back to the bases. That doesn't say anything about all of them. So the few that are going back now, that's just reserves. That's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket. They're doing live nuclear exercises out of Belarus. It would be so easy to drop one straight down on Kiev after they, or Kiev, however you want to pronounce it, after they use a tactical nuke on themselves on the battlefield from Ukraine that they snuck over there, and they say, look, here's the trajectory, we're bombing them now. That's kind of what's going to happen. They were saying, oh, there's no nukes there. I told this a while back. No, they're there. They're there. Just like they were in Cuba. So they have about 350 or 380 tactical nukes. I think our country has like 30. It's not like something we do, but we have other things. But I'm just saying, just as a for instance, that's one of the things that, yeah, and it's kind of a big explosion, bigger than a Moab. Okay, leaves radiation. Well, right now they don't care about radiation. You would think, because if you have not been in, well, see, here's the thing: the Russian Federation doesn't care about lives. That some people have theorized, and they're right, that, well, Chernobyl was a planned event to take out part of Ukraine. It's right there. Ukraine is actually now in Chernobyl, in the radioactive zone. And they're doing drills there, just in case Russia goes in there and try, because Russia will go through there. If you think they're going to avoid it, that's the place they're going to trample right through. Because Russia doesn't care about their troops, they'll send them right through a radioactive zone. You know? And then they'll say, well, let's figure out how much we got to pay their family because they died of this, and how much they, you know, they need radiation sickness treatment, and then, well, they're going to die early, and, well, you know, here's a pension. It's just like the Kursk. And any of the mothers that stand up and cry or have a problem, they get a shot from a needle from a helpful government assistance program where they just stand up and put a needle in their back, and it incapacitates them and shuts them up. That's just how things work. So they'll come right through Chernobyl. They could care less. They're going to come on all fronts. And once the missiles are up in the air, like they have been, but they've got another five weeks of this. They're about halfway in, but they have to make that happen. Everything has to happen before the middle of March, whenever the permafrost turns into mud and the tanks can't come across it quite as easily. They still come across it. They've blockaded the entire Black Sea. They've said nobody in, nobody out. We'll shoot anything that moves. Don't care. This is a way that they're going to ramp up. Yeah, along the direction. Okay, Icon. Yeah, I'll check some of your comments here, because that's pretty funny. Let's see here. And the ham radio and the compass, good on you. That's a really excellent start, because that's where the communication is going to be. Let's see here. Just like when they had that tidal wave that came in, that tsunami after the earthquake in the Yucatan Peninsula down there, that it took out that island and killed a lot of people, and there was no communications at all, and there was only ham radio traffic, and our military didn't even know what was going on down there. And a friend of mine he tuned up my radio, Music Man had a CB shop in Georgia, but he also had the ability to talk on ham, and he was relaying traffic between our military and those people on that island, because all they had was ham radio. So yes, with repeaters, with people relaying, and with phone patches and everything else, ham radio. I've got a President Ronald right here next to my Cobra 2.9 in the same box. Yes, it can be done. So here, you know what, because you're not, okay, people aren't going to believe that. Give me a half a second, I'll get a light. I'll put a light on that, because yeah, I can already understand where people are going to say, okay, wait, you're driving what kind of truck, and you got a what, where? So half a second, people. So I know, and I know I got to get the video up of the satellite, because that's something else I'm going to have to pretty much prove and show that, because that's something that, yeah, I don't expect people to believe what I've been through, what I've seen, and what I say. So I don't mind showing the proof, but to give you a heads up, it's a President Ronald ham with CB on it and scan feature, and it's in the same hole. You hear what I'm saying? In the same hole as my CB radio. So I know that's going to be a hard one to swallow. So give me half a second. I'll shine a light on that. Not too well, my lighting situation. See, that's the thing too. I had to move my GPS out the way. That's the I go live, and then I find out how badly unorganized and how out of sorts my things are. I'll grab a flashlight though. It's supposed to be here. Huh. Top light. Yeah, you know what? I've got 1,000 flashlights too. So that's the thing, is you got to get organized. I'm going to have to grab another couple. I'll buy 5 more flashlights if I have to. I don't even care. You have to have flashlights, people. Oh, that other light. That's what I got. I got the one that I scan paperwork in with. I shove a light up top here. I got 2 of them that match. Let's get that going. Let's get some light going. Did I shove it in this box? I did. See, I have several places where I can look for a flashlight. I just have to remember which ones to look at. Isn't that bad? I'm getting old. People, I'm old. So, let's see here. Like that. That is a good way to show it. Right there. Check that out. So, in case you don't know, you can get 2 radios in one box. It's a little hard to explain here, but you were talking ham. So there's 2 meter, 5 meter, 10 meter. You will absolutely need a different, 2 different antennas to do what I'm doing. Let's see, that has to be plugged up. Well, for a half a second, it won't be. Let's see what we got here. That's on, and that's 19. I'll hit scan. There we go. So this is 2 CB radios technically, but if I switch it, check it out. Let's do this. Okay, I won't even need a light, really. That's helpful, but that's my ham radio. Okay, President. this is my CB radio. CB radio is the way to go because, well, in the event of everything goes to Hades, truckers will have the food that you need at the truck stop. It is what it is. And if they're told that they have the ability to destroy it once it starts to be at a certain date or whatever, but I'm saying the government will bring things to your local Walmart. It'd be like a point of delivery system, where they will have ice water and MREs. So, but this, like I said, is ham, and it's scanning right now just on CB because that's the channel I've got. I added it to it, but it also has ham. It's not like the older ham radios where you can only have ham and then you switch it over to CB. And so that has more power also, right? You got to have a license, but in a situation where there's a war, they're not going to go around seeing if you have a license. They're not going to worry about it. They're going to be glad you can communicate. So, and there's CB. So you can put in the same, truck, right? In this 2022 Freightliner, you can have in the same box 2 radios. Now I got to get them set up a little bit better and nicer, but I'm just saying, yes, ham radio all day long, man. I'm with you on the ham. So let's see here. Let's see. I'll be wearing work clothes on Wednesday. Yeah, it's about work clothes, no doubt. There's gonna be some work. So does the shovel fit your hand? That's the question. And do you have seed for a garden? I'm telling you, people, it's going to be a little something. So I don't know that they're going to be able to cause that much havoc over here before we stop it. But when you look at our people who are at least the talking heads of our current administration, one hand don't know what the other one's doing, and they're all explaining things away. Okay, so they're not fixing things, they're just explaining them away. And oh, well, I'll have to get back to you if you need to have a question. Let's see here. Russia thought you were important enough to throw a satellite at it. Yeah, evidently. I will. I can't wait to get that up. I'll put it up. See Ukraine's military, or military defense, administrative defense with a cyber hack. Yeah, I heard about the cyber hack. Thank you for putting that up, though. Yeah, if you hear about something, put it in the comments here. Yeah, long live the Russians. Okay, Icon. Yeah, well, I hope that they do, because the way they're going, they might not. They have a force of, I think it's 850,000, just rounded up to 900,000 of a military. They also have let's just go ahead and call them KGB because that's what they are. They have that, and then they have their Ministry of Defense and all the generals. So there's a lot of people involved just in the military, which is why the people of Russia, who are the parents of these soldiers, that's the only job for the kids to have. The whole place is run by the government. You see, they've put all their money into that, and that's how they provide jobs. If it wasn't for those jobs, those people wouldn't have jobs. So of course they have to be pro-military no matter what the stance is, because that's what's popping. That's where the kids are at. But then when their kids die from this or that, it's a mess. The only thing that's going to stop us from this is prayer. And I think that the Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church of Russia need to get together and pray. Forget about a hotline between leadership. I believe that it's going to pop off anyhow. I believe that this is part of a plan that God's going to allow to happen because it's free will. However, I think it would change a lot of things and make things easier if they would get together and pray. So I'm telling you people to pray too. I'm just being honest. It works and it's powerful. God will have mercy on a whole lot. It is what it is. But I got a pretty good feeling it's going to pop. I'm hearing lots of jets too lately. Drink some water. So yeah, it's been in the works for a while, and they might as well go ahead and name that a city at this point. Their little base that they've got down there next to Ukraine, and I appreciate the likes. Their base that they've got next to Ukraine now at this point, I don't know the Russian word for army, okay, but it's got to be like Army City, like that. You know, that's it's a whole new entity. Okay, and it's not like you can go out there and boot them, but they got some parking issues, and they got, you know, there's a lot going on, and they now are right there at the edge in Belarus, at the edge of Europe. Really, they could hit any of those places. They could shut off our internet through the undersea cables. They blockaded now all of, and it's going to bankrupt a lot of things in Ukraine, because they can't get shipping back and forth. That's, you know, some of how they get their trade. But we've still managed to get them a bunch of Patriot missiles. I was going to do a picture too. I was going to do a video. I hadn't had the ability to do it, but you know, they've gotten everything from all countries helping out except Germany with those helmets. So I was going to show a picture of the old German Nazi Volkswagen and say maybe they could send them some of these if they have these left over. Seriously, that's where I'm at on it. They could at least send them vehicles. So take an old Volkswagen Bug, maybe paint it camouflage. There's a Grand Theft Auto 5 thing, and there was a guy that did one. Maybe I'll take a picture off that and put that on one of the lives. Maybe Germany could send some vehicles. It's not exactly, it's like a helmet. It looks like an upside down helmet, really, the Volkswagen Bug. So maybe they could send them some mobile helmets. I don't think they just really, they want to help because they're team Nord Stream. Germany is so deep, like not just knee deep, they're ankle to neck deep in money from payoffs about Nord Stream 2 pipeline. It's going to go through into Germany. They think they're going to get cheaper gas. Russia will cut them all off. They will cut them all, just like they blockaded the whole Black Sea. They will cut off the gas supply in this winter, and people in Europe will be complaining because they're not warm. And they're a bunch of snowflakes and they don't understand how things work, and they will be like, we'll just give Russia whatever they want as long as we can stay warm. You see that go along, get along attitude? Yeah. It's not a good situation. Russia has all of Europe on a puppet string tied to a pipeline of the gas they already provide. They need to be getting natural gas from Australia and help those people out financially. And maybe even get it from the US, like they get some, but get it from the US pipeline on boats, you know, shipped in propane. So in the end, Europe's gasoline's going to go through the roof. People will be even broker than they already are. Telecommunications will be shut off for a short amount of time, but for sure they'll shut off the gas. Now, I do know that I believe it was that England pulled out all of their troops from Ukraine. Everybody's leaving Ukraine except for people who are willing to fight in Ukraine. I think they pretty much know what's fixing to happen. There's going to be a bombing campaign. I'm sure of it. When it happens, though, that they're overhead, somebody with a good Air Force needs to step in. I'm not saying who. I'm saying everybody. Someone needs to go in and be able to stop that. Okay, I don't know how that's going to play out. I really don't. Because when you got the president saying, oh, well, you know, if he takes a little bit of Ukraine, well, maybe we'll have to see. And then turns around and his Psaki, his translator, comes in a couple hours later. No, we're not letting him, you know. So it's really, it's just deception. It's a whole deception. It'll happen. And then hopefully somebody with a strong Air Force will, and air defense missiles don't hurt. Now we have some of those surface to air missiles, shoulder fire ones that worked so well in Afghanistan that are now actually in Ukraine also. And there's lots of mercenaries there, and there's you know, from other countries, from all types of countries that WION did a report on it, WION, on the Georgian Alliance, I believe is what it's called. So people from anywhere can volunteer and go and fight in Ukraine. and become citizens later if they want to. And there's a lot of them there. It will be defended, but it will be heavily bombed. There's a lot going on until such time as somebody stops that. I think that needs to be stopped in short order, especially those ballistic missiles that I'm just going to go ahead and call ICBMs. They are what they are. Maybe they're not like the Minutemen or the ones that Russia has. That's the counterpart of that. Maybe they're not those long missiles, but they do the same job. And there are nukes on the battlefield, just like I said before, only now they admit to them. So it's a super secret nuclear program that you didn't know about. It's super secret, but I told you about it a while back, and now you know about it. It's just all part of the service I provide here. Just saying, it is what it is. What more can I say except that we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and when it happens, I'm asking the people, are you in any way prepared? That's all. That's all. I don't care if it's a sandwich for lunch. Don't expect you get your lunch from somewhere else, because even if the power goes out at a restaurant, they can't even let you use the restroom if there's no water. They can't let you give you a sandwich if there's no power. Okay? There's this whole thing about they got to be able to wash their hands and all this stuff. It's kind of bad, diseases and all, E. coli, all these things. So don't expect that places will feed you. You have to feed yourself. Do you have any canned food that you can have for your lunch, or make a sandwich, or what do you have? That's what I'm posing. I'm just provoking the thought process that everybody should be having, because we're fixing to be in World War III. So everybody's involved. All the players are there. It's the same as when it was Russia versus the Germany versus France versus the US, and everyone was involved. Everybody. I still wonder, and I'd like to see, but we'll find out if Russia actually built the submarine that carries tanks. Not that it matters. I just would like to see where it turns up, if it's finished, if it's been birthed yet. I'm just saying, out of the shipyard, birthed. So B-E-R-T-H. So we'll see. We're going to find out all their wonder weapons. We're going to see what they do, and their electronic warfare. And they can take planes out of the sky. Well, we probably can too, kind of thing. I'm pretty sure China can. And I'm starting to lean towards the thought, because there's been two airplanes now that we've had an issue with that have landed in the ocean, crashed. And I think that China did that. At the last minute before they landed, I think they got zapped. Electronic warfare. Because it's all fly-by-wire. There was a little bit of an issue. Good pilot. No issue with the weather. The weather was clear. It was a beautiful day to go flying, landing, all these things. And the plane scoots off the edge. So instead of trying to say that, the pilot was coming in too fast or too low, or no, because the airplane actually does the work on a lot of that. Compared to the F-16, the F-35 does a lot more of the work. So they actually have a divot on the carrier with a tire mark where they're all hitting the exact same spot. You hear what I'm saying, people? So there's no pilot error if there's no pilot involvement, right? On the landing sequence and how it goes in. All right. Now, yes, they can, move right, left. I think that there was an issue. I don't think it's a software issue. It's not like the MCAS system. It's not like those 777s. This is different. I think China saw where the planes went, waited till they came back. Maybe they have electronic warfare capabilities on a submarine. They pop it up. They say, he's right there. And just before they land, they turn him into a kamikaze event, and it takes off. It hurts 7 sailors on the deck. This is where my mind is at. I could be wrong. I'm not often. I'm not bragging. I'm being honest. I kind of think that it'll come out later. There was nothing wrong with the pilot. There was nothing wrong with the plane until the last minute. There's no new software change. Now, it's not like the the Tomcat 7, F-16, F-18, I think it was F-16. One of them had a flat spin issue. If you ever watch Top Gun, that was an actual issue, the flat spin, and they needed software to actually correct for that. They were just starting fly-by-wire issues, fly-by-wire airplanes, and these are the first 2 carriers, by the way, to hold the F-30, the F-35. The plane itself has just now become able to be put onto 2 special aircraft carriers. They have to be outfitted for it. Certain secret super things that they need. So it's only 2 aircraft carriers. They're in the South China Sea. China's right there. They got that electronic warfare. They can turn things off. What do you think? You know what I mean? So, not having any problem anywhere else. No, they go, they do a little thing. China looks where they went. They said, we didn't like that. Something. That's what I think. They turn them into almost like a kamikaze kind of thing. It's a situation. So I'm hoping that we retrieve the one that was in the water. They're on it. They may have already. There's the other one that I don't know what happened to it, but it was a second one. Very, very similar situation. Clear skies, good weather. Even if it had a side wind, it looked like it couldn't fight nothing. Like it was unable to fly. That's not normal. Okay? Hitting the tower, knocking your landing gear off, that's not normal. So they told him, they waved him off, power up, and you go forward and you keep flying. There was not a whole lot of smoke coming out of the back end of the thing. It wasn't afterburners. There wasn't nothing going on. Something happened, and there was no power control over that plane at that point. Okay, so other than that, that's just my thoughts on that. I'm pretty sure that the pilot was capable. I'm pretty sure that there was an issue with the plane, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't software. I think it was induced. That's just where I'm at. I'm taking up for the pilot, taking up for the people that are there that maintain them. And the plane itself has not had a big issue. But because it's been a few, I think that's why that the sailors leaked it, to say, hey, there's a little problem. And it was, yeah, they might get reprimanded, but I think the reason they leaked it was so that people would see it, and it would get above their higher ups, and somebody would say, hey, wait a minute, this has got to stop because it's causing a danger to the people on the flight deck. I think that everybody on that deck needs to be ordered below decks at every single landing of an F-35 on the ship. Everybody. Clear the flight deck. F-35 coming in. That's what I think needs to happen with that. Just a personal opinion. I ain't saying what to do. I'm just saying that an ounce of prevention is worth $100 million airplane worth of cure. Am I not right on that, people? So I'm gonna check your comments, and I gotta get riding because I gotta work. Oh, that's the last one was icon. If you want to make another couple comments before I split, that's what's up. Have you some kind of an EDC, people? Walk softly and carry a large stick. Maybe a blade, maybe a weapon that shoots projectiles. I'm not advocating for violence. Just saying protect yourself from existential threats that may come your way if people realize that they have no money, that they are all of a sudden that they are going to have to steal somebody else's car or whatever. Who knows? People devolve. People devolve, and there's always thieves, but people devolve. So when they devolve, have a getaway for yourself to get back to where you're supposed to be, and don't second think it. Don't think it's your job to be a hero and go pick up every person you know and take them all around where they need to go just because you have the only running vehicle, or because you have gas, or because you have money, or because that will so soon fail you. You will go from hero to zero quickly doing that. Handle your business, you know. So TCB, you know, like Elvis said, take care of business. Take care of business. So people, I'm going to get off this thing. I'm not the be-all, end-all purveyor of knowledge. I'm simply bringing this up. It was leaked from a source to our intelligence services, and then they leaked it to give people a heads up, and then some people denied it, and some people said, oh, you know, well, it could be real. It could, that it's going to be World War Wednesday. That Wednesday, tomorrow, is when Russia's going to attack Ukraine, and then some people will stand up for Ukraine, and then Russia will go after those countries in different ways, and all of their hackers will be let loose on systems, and systems will be an issue, and so you could lose some things. I'm just saying. And if they attack, you know, the ATMs, the phone lines, that kind of thing that work them, you could have a problem getting money out of your bank. So it's probably a good idea to be forewarned and forearmed. It's not meatless Mondays or meatless Tuesdays. We're not going to get ration cards. It's not the end of the world. We just might have some issues. And if you lose satellite, like I said, have a map book if you're a trucker. Expect the unexpected. Expect for our satellites to be taken out. Russia has 2 satellites up there that are weapons. Actually 3 or 4, but not just ones that shoot. There's the inspector satellite. There's the one that flies around like nobody's business and can maneuver in close quarters. 2 are satellites and attack them. Push them out of the way. Drill a hole in them. They can do all kinds of things in space at this point. Which is why, you know, they blew up one with a missile just to throw flak into the air. And China did the same thing. What does this do? Causes havoc. General havoc, you know. They need to add that, by the way, to Murphy's Law. After they say Murphy was a grunt, that'd be the last Murphy's Law. They need to add one more law to Murphy's Law, which is General Havoc is a 6-star general. Yeah, and he's good at what he does. So they're going to impose General Havoc. I'm getting off this thing, not trying to ramble, just giving you a heads up. Think about what you're going to wear to World War Wednesday. Think ahead, okay? What happens if? So it's not a bug out situation, it's a get home situation. To bug in. But if you live in the cities, it could be a terrible situation if you're bugging in. If the whole thing, boy howdy. I'm going to get off this thing. God bless you people. I'm out. Peace.